to help us better engage you on our next upcoming cybersecurity matterful. So without any further ado, I would like to hand over to Mr. Piyush. Thank you.
Thank you, Sangha. Thanks a lot. A very good morning to you all. It's a special good morning from my side because since the situation is such that it matters a lot that you guys spared your valuable time and made for the session today. I hope you all are well and waiting to get vaccinated. I actually realized my presentation start lingo has changed lately from changed from staying at home and now getting vaccinated. Sorry, a bad joke. So the topic today, as mentioned by Sangha, is are you safe from email attacks? So let's roll our sleeves up and jump into this and try to answer the question: Are we not? And if we are not, what are we supposed to do to make sure that we are secure? All right. So this is how we were in 2020. So the first quarter of 2020 coverage on the COVID-19 outbreak, dominated 24 hours global news cycle. Globally, everyone started to fix the pandemic, and of course, the baddies took this as the perfect opportunity to exploit, because wherever there is a possible news, there is fodder for the baddies. On that, talking a bit on what Bodyguard, our research lab, analyzed during those times. Primarily, what we saw was the bad actors heavily relied on emails using macros-enabled documents, which started from China itself. So to name a few, which were Chemsky template injection, and the other one is a tongue twister always for me, it's a Gamaredon. So, dipping into the nuts and bolts of these malwares, Chemsky utilized staged Python script to collect the systems and users info in phases. The biggest effect was it affected Mac users as well as Windows. Now, again, it came as a macros-enabled COVID-19 themed email. The next Gamaredon, as the epicenter shifted from China to Europe, so did the phishing attacks. So Gamaredon, what it used a macros document which would collect home drives, your BIOS information, and dropping a backdoor called as Tornado. So the significance of this backdoor was that when you click it, your machine, the affected machine, becomes a center of communication between all the malicious servers over internet. So phishing attacks last year were at the highest, predominantly with the emergence of all those old ransomwares. The one which showed a lot was Revok. It was first spotted in 2018. So it has compromised a lot of domain controllers, in order to install the ransomware. So as we speak today, attacks have become more sophisticated. The scale of the attacks, I would say, have gone 100-folds. No more we have one-dimensional attacks. Rather, we have multi-dimensional insurgents. Ever since we have started, resorting to machine learning and artificial intelligence for the betterment of our networks, the security of our networks, so has the malwares. So the malwares, they resort, or the baddies, they resort to machine learning and artificial intelligence to increase the efficacy of their attack on our network. The one variant of a malware which is called as swarm bots. Basically use AI ML ways to attack our network, and the difference between a usual or a swarm bot is when they attack and they get inside your network, they attack as well as they collect information, and they talk to each other as they are going about infiltrating information from your network. So suffice to say, Google had tracked quite a spike in the phishing sites during the first quarter of 2020. So they saw an increase of about 350%. So that was quite, it wasn't a coincidence. It was quite evident that anytime there is a topic that a lot of people are searching, which was COVID-19, there would be an opportunity for baddies. So the slide would be a bit sketchy because this slide was done by me, and the reason is it's a bit sketchy because I made it. It's not from marketing. So how did we get here? So from 2011, we had spam flooding our emails with rich content. I don't even remember how spam looked like 10 years back. So, but now, like in 2011, 13, it was predominantly dominated by exploit kits with the help of URLs, and were distributed by botnets. 2014 to now, as we speak, macros-enabled documents have been very prevalent in our email as attachments, monetized by ransomware and banking trojans. 2019 was reigned by many emails which were impersonative in nature, business email compromise. There had been a significant heavy revenue loss with the help of these benign-looking emails coming into your the supply chain, monetized by invoice fraud, shipping fraud. I'm sure you might have guessed what exactly I was referring to here. So that brings us to the agenda today, which is very crisp. We would touch upon some of the risks that we see coming through email as a vector. Then we'll touch upon what are the email security drivers. We'll touch upon our security offering, which is through FortiMail. We'll talk about some of the different form factors that we have, some of the programs that we have in order to ensure that we secure your email solution or email system. And then we'll conclude it by a very short demo on our integration with Office 365 over Graph API. All right. So email, as we speak today, isn't going anywhere. It's a business tool for employees and for everyone. I mean, in fact, if you look at it, if you go by numbers, we have about 5.6 billion active email accounts worldwide. That means each one of us has 2 email accounts. I'm sure I have about 3. Yeah. So these accounts collectively would throw about 320 billion emails daily. That is the statistic of 2021 as we speak today. So we've seen we've been seeing a shift in the services used for businesses to send emails. As per Gartner, if we go by the Gartner's numbers, 71% of the companies are using cloud or hybrid cloud email services. So this clearly indicates, email is not going anywhere. It's a lifeline for any enterprise or any organization that we speak. So not only for us, it's not only our lifeline, but it's a lifeline for cyber criminals as well. Of course, I mean, for a basic reason, if we dig down into the protocol semantics, it's clear text, right? SMTP was never designed to make sure that you are going to encrypt it to begin with. It's just that the encryption, the security was always made around it. So organizations have to be very conscious of the risk involved with emails. As per the threat landscape, it continues to evolve as the bad guys actively work to exploit emails, to obtain your credentials, deliver malware, or even steal any information out of your company. If you look at the numbers, the average cost of data breach, which we saw in 2020 and 2019, has been ranging between 3.9 to 3.86 million. So that's a whole lot. So I'm not making these numbers. So these numbers are very much there. They are documented. They've been researched for. So so today there are about 45 to 55% of spam emails. Mostly benign, but some are malicious too. And takes a huge chunk of your productivity. Let's be honest. If we get an email which makes us or allows us to become an overnight millionaire, why not? We all, being security savvy, we make sure that we like to go and have a read at least, if not click. So email remains the primary threat vector. According to a Verizon Data Breach Investigation Report 2020, if we break down the numbers, 22% of breaches were caused by social actions or actions where the intent was to play on users or employees like us. 96% of the social actions were delivered via emails, and that's a massive number. And if you see, 90% of those emails were classified as phishing. So you can well imagine. A genuine phishing link is bound to ensure that it will do a data breach. And another 9% from pretexting, which is classified as smashing or vishing. So with all this, bad actors were able to compromise credentials, and that's a huge problem. I want you to remember this number, which is 62%, which we'll try to tie this thing with the subsequent slides. So some more data from Verizon. On the left, the left side of the slide, it shows malware types, and on the right we have the attack vectors. If you notice how password dumpers takes the top spot on your left, and which ties to the earlier slide that we mentioned, on what threat actors are playing around. What exactly they want, because they could compromise the credentials, thereby infiltrating information out of your organization. So in addition, if you see last slide, 54% of the malware delivery is either through downloader or links in the malicious email. All right, so coming back to the adoption of cloud, 70% of the companies are using it, and as predicted by Gartner, 40% would still rely on the primitive or cloud-driven email security per se. So, so if you look at it, would you be in the 71 or 40%? Now that's the biggest question. I mean, you cannot be relying on the security, email security of providers like Office 365 or G Suite. But the point is they might look very lucrative. Cosmetically, they are fantastic. I'm saying that being in the industry of email security for quite some time. But as far as email security, it would be a big no. The reason being is there is a third-party validation test which is called SE Labs testing, wherein Microsoft 365 and G Suite, they failed miserably. And this is publicly available. Even if you go on Fortinet's website, you can actually see these results out there. G Suite was a step ahead as far as the results were concerned, but Microsoft failed miserably, and that gives us a clear indication as to whether would we rely on the security of the cloud vendors, or would we have to have something like which is effective, which knows more about email-borne threats. So what basically drives the email security? If you look at it, demands for email security have been very dynamic. Especially if you take the instance of COVID-19, there has been an acceleration of cloud-based emails. If you see on the right, as per the threat landscape standpoint, it directly relates to the spearfishing, business email compromise. You've got itchy finger trigger, wherein you've got delayed URLs coming into your inbox. How would you ensure that you are going to counter such emails? There have been reduction of budgets, need for automation because there are lack of resources to handle the networks. Email security can no longer be isolated to email alone. I mean, you've got to ensure that if you are having an email, whether on-prem or in the cloud, you have to ensure that you have to take care of the email security per se. All right, so the future of the email security, if you see, it's not just only the email as an email server or an entity which sits in between you and your email server to protect your emails. It's all about how effectively can we educate the whole network. Now, email, when integrated with a purpose-built sandbox, it should be able to give a complete deep analysis of what is coming into your network in form of contents that you see as attachments, URLs coming in. Could be a phishing or could be a benign URL in email body or a document which is macros enabled. So how effective and how much can you drill down? And while you're doing that, I mean, your system should be able to hold the emails unless they get the results from the sandbox. And sandbox should be able to give you a complete a MITRE framework which shows what would have happened if this particular content would have executed once dynamically analyzed. Now, not only this, email would form a very important basis of your security fabric. The reason I say is it's like I learn and I ensure that all the entities around my security fabric learn as we go. So that is something which is mandated. Like if I'm getting an email which has a 0 day, and once analyzed by since I'm integrated with the sandbox, I'm analyzed on the sandbox and I get a result as it is suspicious. So I should be able to go and distribute this information to all my security fabric members. So that is what should be the future of email security as we talk today. All right. So why are we here for? I mean, of course, we are here for to discuss Fortinet. So for those who haven't been through Fortinet or didn't get a chance to work on Fortinet, so now Fortinet is a purpose. I mean, if you drill down into the layman's definition, it's basically a component which gives you email security, which sits between you and your email server. But the way it handles the emails is different. It does in a very granular fashion. Now, it gives you a multi-layer solution comprising of growing numbers of security elements, and it integrates, as I said in the previous slide, it integrates with all the modules of the security fabric to give you a strongest and a self-sustainable secure network. So if you look at this slide, you can see a continuum of threats. Threats can be classified as known. You've got suspected threats. You've got unknown threats. You've got impersonative natured threats in form of emails. You've got business email compromise. So the way Fortinet looks at it is it breaks down your email from the session to the envelope, header, and the end of message. It sees it right till the end, and at least 95% of the emails are blocked at the session level itself, and that's the beauty of the session profiles that we configure on Fortinet. So there are different services which works in conjunction to ensure that you get a granular email security. I think drill down into the threat mitigation. Now, as you can see, if you see the content-based threat includes spam, phishing. Although it might not be malicious, but would definitely be annoying. So we've got FortiGuard URL filtering, we've got spam contents detection, and IP reputation. We have a full-blown IP reputation database to counter well-known spam and ensure we do have support of SPF, DMARC to handle volumetric spam. And moreover, there are spam campaigns which are evasive in nature. So we ensure that we resort to behavior analysis, which is driven by our machine learning databases in FortiGuard, and it's updated on regular basis in the engines of Fortinet. So if we go on threat mitigation, which is 2, is basically in the forms of attachments, which could be a macros enabled document. It could be email which comes in with a phishing link. So how do we counter that? So there are FortiGuard database, FortiGuard URL filtering database, which plays in to mitigate such emails. We keep track of IPs, possibly blocked IPs by the help of the IP reputation. Not only this, let's say if we have a URL which somehow slipped through and it went to your inbox. So what Fortinet is going to do is it's going to rewrite this particular URL with itself, and so that even if accidentally you happen to click it, you would not go to the malicious server. You would hit Fortinet first for Fortinet to do a reanalysis of this particular URL. Along with this, we integrate with FortiIsolator. Now, FortiIsolator gives you, even if you have, somehow clicked it and FortiMail declares it as benign, there would always be a air gap between you and the server, which is hosting this particular URL, so that whatever happens in that air gap and nothing active lands onto your system. Threat mitigation, if there is a robust filtering built in the mail solution, attacks will often pivot to URLs and hope they bypass the security by linking the email body. So this is where your FortiIsolator would FortiIsolator and time of click is going to play in and give you a phishing protection. All right. The last threat mitigation, which is in the form of business email compromise. Now, believe you me, it's so devastating. A benign looking email. I mean, whenever I go on my Office 365 account, I've got an account in Office 365. I always see at least a dozen of business email compromise emails, and they are just sitting there waiting to be clicked and sent by myself. I don't know when exactly I did that. So that has been a very devastating way of getting inside your network and infiltrating, into your network, and that has been a major reason of most of the data breaches that you might have heard in 2019, 2020, and that number is increasing. So, in order to mitigate with such type of emails, your email security system should be able to understand, should be able to see such emails traversing in and out in 24 hours, and should be able to learn and extrapolate as to, there should be different structure of emails, where exactly it's coming from, how does it look. On the basis of that, it should be able to educate itself and should be able to take the decision whether this is impersonative in nature or is it actually benign. Having said that, now since it's a granular way of giving you an email security, so FortiMail works in different operational modes. Initially, to begin with, we had 3 modes that it supported. We had gateway, we had FortiMail as a full-blown server, FortiMail as a transparent entity which sits on the service providers and give them prevention against IP blacklisting. The 4th mode, which we introduced last year itself, was with most of the enterprise shifting their focus onto the cloud, shifting emails. It became very prevalent for FortiMail to have an off-path integration with Office 365. So that's the 4th mode that FortiMail works in with. Now, as we talk, this FortiMail in gateway can be in the cloud. It can be as an appliance. Same for FortiMail with Office 365 API. You can have it in the cloud or appliance. Same goes for your server, as well as transparent is something different because it is primarily used for service providers. So you ought to have it on-prem in their network. All right. So what makes us different? Like I said, today I'm going to take this opportunity and request you all, if you analyze or if you are evaluating an email security solution, you've got to ensure you need to get into the technology. That's one. Is it validated? That is something which is very important, because at the end of the day, we don't want to be using something which is good for emails, but when it comes to email security, it falls flat on the ground. We don't want that. And like I said, Fortinet actually has a habit of putting their engines to test. So there are different third parties which are involved in testing our engines, and that has been remarkable. So, like I said, the technology, the way we go about, analyzing emails, and there are different modules. There's different security modules which play in on each part of the email. The last but not the least is email forms a very eminent part of security fabric, not only for emails, but to ensure that with the help of Sandbox, it can educate the whole network, or mitigate any prevalence of any 0 days by distributing the hash value of the content which is come in through email borne attacks. All right. Our Fortinet Labs, they analyze over 100 billion, real-world security events through our customers' telemetry, covering networks, endpoints, web, emails, and of course the Sandbox threat vectors. They filter it out, and they generate about 1 billion security updates per day to all the Fortinet security install bases around the world. So that's the scale of FortiGuard. FortiGuard, whatever interaction that we spoke of, all these things are happening in conjunction in a tethered model between your FortiMail and FortiGuard. And FortiGuard is a research labs wherein we've got teams working 365 days, and they are in a constant watch as to what comes in and out of your network in a secure fashion. So, like I said, validation is really important. If you see this slide, we participate in ICSA lab testing, SE Labs. We've been always a AAA, certified vendor as far as the detection is concerned. I'm sure many of you might be knowing this. FortiMail has an AV engine now, which works on a proprietary algorithm. Now, the difference between any normal AV or the antivirus algorithm that Fortinet uses is that we give you a performance and resiliency, because we understand polymorphism. When the content comes in, we can understand itself as well as its different variants. So that increases the detection by tenfold. So that is the difference between a regular antivirus and antivirus from Fortinet. So I just added this slide yesterday. So Fortinet is we actually proudly announced that FortiMail has been recognized as 2021 Customer's Choice in Gartner's Peer Insight Voice of Customers. So this is your voice. I'm sure you would like to see this. This is publicly available. You can go ahead and have a good read. All right. So some of the programs that we have, if you can see, we've got different, very plain and a very simple bundle scheme. If you look at it, there are no asterisks, there's nothing hidden. We've got base bundles, we've got enterprise advanced threat protection bundle, we've got the same along with Office 365 API integration. So it's very simply done. So that it becomes very easy for you to choose. This has been picked up by the data sheet of Fortinet. So in case you want to have a look, you can always go and download a data sheet of Fortinet from our website. Fortinet, what Fortinet does, we've got a Fortinet cloud offering, which is built and operated by Fortinet itself. It gives you different variants. It gives you a variant of a gateway mode. It gives you a variant of Gateway Premium with some added features. Along with that, you've got option of having a Fortinet in the cloud integrated to Office 365 tenant of your organization. So it's like you can have all interactions happening in the cloud itself. All right, something which I wanted to talk, and as you all know, we are the last line of defense, and therefore it is mandatory for you and me to ensure that we know what is coming into our network. If you see this, seeing this, Fortinet introduced a cloud-based security awareness training called Fortifish. So this is basically a simulation service with content and custom contents with the idea of sending emails to your users and seeing their reactions, whether are they going to click it, are they going to open the link or the document, or if they do that, are they going to submit their username and password? And as the users are doing it in the background, this simulation service is collecting all those responses, whether this particular user has been has opened it, did this user shared any information. All these things can be analyzed. So at the end of the day, when you analyze this thing, FortiGuard basically there's a deep knowledge of phishing techniques, and since this Fortifish works in tandem with our NSC Training Institute, so those employees or those participants who happen to click the link, just like me, would be asked to get trained by NSC Training Institute, which have plethora of experience in creating effective training modules, so that we ensure that next time we see something benign but suspicious, we should be able to take care of it, and we should be able to somehow delete it or not open it, and just keep ourselves protected. All right, so if you've been hearing me for quite some time now, the key takeaways that we can extract from today's webinar is email is a critical productive tool, and like I said, it's not going anywhere, but easily can be used for attack vectors. Organizations who are using, I'm sure most of you guys today as we speak would be using Office 365 or G Suite. You guys should rethink about having email security on top of these cosmetic email providers. So, like I said, again, I want to reiterate on this particular fact is when you pick an email security solution, ensure it is validated. FortiMail is a powerful alternative to address Office 365 or G Suite's poor security, email security. In case if you or your customers would like to use FortiMail, so there is a no obligation program that we have, which is called as CTAP. So you can actually run this thing in production without hampering their production traffic, and giving them a clear indication as to what email detected with regards to what their current email security solution is seeing in their network. So it gives you a clear report where you can see report on the basis of security, the productivity, as well as the utilization. So it gives you a clear picture of how effective your present email security solution is. All right, demo time. That's the favorite part of this slide. So what I'll do is, give me 1 second. So the what we are going to do in this particular 1 second. Now, can you see my slide?
Yep.
All right. Give me 1 sec.
You can see the demo.
All right. 1 second. Can I stop this demo because I want to explain the next slide first? All right. So 1 sec. Okay, got it. All right, so the demo is about the integration of FortiMail with Office 365. As you can see, the mail flow is very simple. The user sends an email directly to the tenant, which is Office 365. Now, since Office 365 has been integrated over API with FortiMail, it gets notified. So the notification goes to FortiMail, wherein FortiMail is going to get the message, download it, and do the analysis based on what you have configured on FortiMail to do so. So based on the analysis, what FortiMail does, it is going to either drop, it is going to shift the email from the inbox to any of the folders that you have on Office 365, so that your inbox is free from any of those suspicious emails. All right, so what we'll do is we'll quickly see the demo. Go to the video. All right. Okay, if you see this, this is basically a FortiMail instance which is configured in Azure public cloud, and if you see this graphical user interface, it has been split in simple, advanced, and Office 365 view, which is predominantly only for the integration with Office 365. So if you look at this, if you go on the mail events basically shows you that your FortiMail is connected over Graph API with your Office 365 tenant. The configuration is very simple. All you got to do is you got to give the URL, which should be publicly available, so that Office 365 tenant can see it globally. So for this demo, we are running a script which is thronging our tenant on Office 365 with emails with some banned words that we have created. Now this is my Office 365 account. So it is seeing emails coming in with a banned word. If you see this, based on my configuration, it's getting the email, and the configured profile is taking action. So as per the profile that you see here, I've put for the demo, I've put a banned word as bad and COVID. So it's picking it up and throwing this thing into a folder which I've configured to do so. Along with this, you have an option of configuring FortiMail with hiding the email from inbox. I'll come to that later. Now, you have an option of doing a search, putting a scheduled search from where exactly this mail coming from. You can put different conditions and run a scan and collectively, take an action for such emails which you think could be suspicious. You can discard them, shift it to system or personal quarantine based on that. So, like I was mentioning, you have an option of hiding the emails. So, what happens is when the email lands onto your Office 365 tenant, so you have an option of hiding that particular email from the user. If you do, the user will not be able to see the email unless it has been analyzed by Fortinet, which gives some more protection to the recipient, so that accidentally you don't go and click on the document or on the phishing link. So that's pretty much it. That's it. So questions. That's the important part.
Yeah, thank you, Piyush, with your in-depth sharing on email attacks. So we have a few questions coming in from our audience. The first question is, what if the URL gets to user inbox? How can Fortimail protect against any late infections?
Oh, lovely. So whosoever has asked that's a wonderful question, and it seems that you've been listening very carefully. Now, it's very important to understand. Anyone. There's no vendor who can actually go ahead and give you 100% secure, a secure email solution. It's just that there are different ways how you can mitigate the prevalence of anything suspicious coming into your network. Now, to answer your question, the way it works is there are two things. It either would compare it with or try to get information from FortiGuard URL filtering database. If not there, it is going to rewrite the URL with its own IP address or a FQDN of Fortimail itself, so that even if it is a late activated attack or attack which is scheduled to start in a day or two, when it is there in your inbox, Fortimail will be able to rescan it with the help of FortiGuard URLs or sharing it with Forti Sandbox and getting the verdict upfront from the sandbox itself.
Okay, thanks, Piyush. So the next question is, do we support SRS sender rewrite scheme?
Oh yeah, that's something which. All right, so I'm sure all my friends on the call today would have heard about SRS. Now, email servers are often targeted in form of malicious content, spam, and phishing. So SPF, DKIM, and DMARC, we've been using these features to mitigate the prevalence of spam into our network. So, but there are few services which are hampering or which break the SPF sanctity in a way. If you have an auto forwarding or relaying configured in your network, so it would eventually start to fail. It would start to give you an SPF fail. In order to mitigate that, there is something called as sender rewrite scheme, which would basically encapsulate the original sender address inside a new forwarding address, domain address. So which ensures that the original sender address goes along even if you're doing an auto forwarding, so that SPF checks are passed and you don't get that error of a spam in your network. So we are going to support this thing in a month's time in our next release, which is 7.4. But a good question though.
Okay, great, thanks. Okay, the next question is, how does Fortimail handle password protected attachments if they have any malicious content inside?
That is done with the help of our content profile. Now, how we do it is we try to extract a password from the email body. That's one. There is an inbuilt list of passwords in Fortimail itself, and let's say if your Fortimail is integrated with Sandbox, so once the password is extracted from the content. That password itself with the content is shared by with Sandbox for Sandbox to do its analysis. So that gives you a twofold protection on the FortiMail itself, as well as once FortiMail is successfully extracting the password, it shares the password with the Forti Sandbox for further analysis.
Okay. Let me check for other questions coming in. Okay. Can Fortinet block Bittorrent?
Bittorrent. Now, it depends. It depends on how what is the format of BitTorrent you're talking about? Are you talking about BitTorrent in the form of URL or encoded into a document? Either way, you can actually extract it with the help of content disarm reconstruction or with the help of URL analysis to ensure you can actually delve deep down into the construction of that particular URL.
Okay, thanks. Okay, so you have mentioned about spearfishing earlier. Could you please share what is the difference with phishing and spearfishing?
See, spearfishing is, if you look at it, phishing is a generic term. Now, as per definition, if you look at it, spearfishing is to a very specific user list or recipients. Let's say I would ensure that I'm going to target only the top financial higher-ups in certain organizations. So that could be a spearfishing attack. There's one more way of calling it. There's one more classification which is called as whaling. Whaling is basically a term given to a phishing attack wherein you are attacking the CEO or the CTO of an organization, basically higher ups. The methods what baddies they employ to are as per my information is the same. It's just that the recipients you don't spam it to a large number of recipients. You spam it to a very small group. That's why I termed as spearfishing.
Okay, great, thanks. So the next simple question you got it like, can Fortinet block VPN?
Fortinet, yes. Fortinet's firewall for sure. But if you're talking about FortiMail is not designed to block VPNs.
Okay, great, thanks. So I'm afraid this is all the time we have for Q&A. So your questions are really important to us. So if you're unable to answer them during the webinar, we will respond via the email that you have provided to us. So as we conclude today's webinar, we would like to also thank you for your attendance and support. A gentle reminder and request you to complete a simple survey at the end of the webinar. So it will be better engage you to focus on the cybersecurity matters. So thank you for taking your time. We'll be continuously expecting your support for upcoming one. Thank you.
Thanks, Anand.
If you'd like to revisit the webinar, so this is the link. You can take a note. All the on-demand webinar and activities are here. So you can bookmark this URL. Thanks.